Hello everyone, my name is Tracy McCarthy, and today we're going to be talking about balance training. So, what is balance? Balance is the ability to maintain a steady position to prevent falling. It's also an even distribution of weight, enabling someone or something to maintain itself being upright. It's also the ability to recover and right oneself when balance is lost, which will help prevent falling. And lastly, it's also having equal or symmetrical strength throughout the body so that your body is in balance. For example, if you had really strong upper body but really weak legs, you really wouldn't be in balance. Or say your right side was super strong and your left side was very weak, you wouldn't be in balance. So having proper balance also means about the muscles in your body. So why is it important? Overall, it really helps prevent ourselves from falling, and that helps prevent against injury. The majority of sports-related injuries are actually non-contact sprains and strains. Those deal with your actual ligaments and tendons. You might have heard of the ACL before. It's one of the most common knee injuries that you'll hear about. It's your anterior cruciate ligament, and it's a ligament inside the knee joint. About 70% of ACL injuries are non-contact. So that means that it's not from somebody else hitting them, it's more from how the person lands or jumps. So improving balance can actually help decrease risk of injury. So how do we check balance? There's a number of different ways that we can actually do this, and usually we'll use a variety of tests to see how well somebody can balance. So first is single leg stance. Basically, it's how long can you stand on one leg. And you want to make sure that you compare both your right and your left sides. Then you want to check about standing in something called tandem stance. This is where we place one foot directly in front of the other. And you want to see how long you can stay in that position. Again, you want to check both sides. Another way that we do with our athletes is called a star excursion balance test. And you'll see that on the bottom right hand of the slide. Someone starts out in the center of this star that's made for them, usually using tape. And you stand on one leg and you try to reach the opposite leg into all the different quadrants of the star, trying to go as far as you can without losing balance and returning back to that baseline position. Similarly, you compare side to side, again, so you can be in better balance with both sides. So, another way to test balance is actually to close your eyes. So after you do those tests of standing on one foot, standing on front in tandem stance, try it again with your eyes closed. It's much harder, right? So balance is definitely harder with your eyes closed. We rely on visual feedback for a lot of our balance components. So without that visual feedback, using our vision, our eyes, we need to rely on the other senses. If you think about it, if you've seen someone that's visually impaired or blind walking around, they're not losing their balance constantly. Their body's able to use its other senses to help determine where it is in space. So where does our balance come from? It starts in the vestibular system. The vestibular system is basically a sensory system, and it provides information about where our body is, where our head is on top of our body, and overall spatial orientation. It's located in the inner ear. You can see that picture on the top right, where you look at the inner ear, your semicircular canals, and your cochlea. These are really, really important for balance. You actually have fluid within that area and tiny, tiny, tiny little hairs. And those hairs moving in the fluid are able to tells our body what position our head is on our body. So if you were to do a handstand and your head was upside down, your brain is able to determine that orientation. You also use proprioception. So this is, again, our ability of our body to determine where we are in space, and it relies on different mechanosensors. So these are sensors that are in our joints. So we'll have them in our ankles, our knees, our hips, all over the body. And basically, they give like a warning system. So think about it if you were in a car that has a really good tracking system and you start to drive into another lane, the warning system will go off because it's telling your car that your car is steering off course. So our mechanical sensors will tell our brain that we're teetering off course when it picks up information about that joint or that limb moving how it shouldn't. So that feedback then goes up to our brain and then tells our muscles and our body to try to right oneself. The pretty neat thing about our vestibular system is it develops after we're born to help us with this orientation. So for example, when you're a baby, you're not standing upright. You're actually lying flat most of the time. So your vestibular system has not organized itself in a way for you to stand vertical. And it takes a while for that process to happen. And then eventually it gets developed and you can stand upright. And that's where you're able to understand where your body is in space. So some different skills that require balance. A lot of the most popular ones that we think about are dance and gymnastics. There's a lot of very technical aspects of these sports where they're landing or standing and balancing on one foot while twirling and hopping and twisting. Also, someone that's a tightrope walker must have very, very, very good balance. But there's other aspects of sports that you may not think about. For example, looking at the soccer player in the top left picture, she's standing on one leg, but she's not standing upright. She's almost in a diagonal position to be able to kick with her other foot and drive the ball across the field. So she's actually in great balance because she's not falling over in that position. Similarly, the weightlifter in the far right, he's able to balance an immense amount of weight over his head. So he's showing a lot of balance in his muscles and his body to stabilize that. Similar with basketball, baseball, skiing, all sorts of sports require balance. It requires integration of their body's vestibular system and proprioceptive system so that we can determine where our body is in space and prevent ourselves from falling. So how can we improve our balance? There's a lot of things that you can do at home to work on it. So you can practice the time you stand on one foot and try this with your eyes open and your eyes closed. You can also try standing on different surfaces like pillows or a couch cushion or even blankets. If that's too easy, get a partner and try playing catch while standing on one foot. Always make sure to change feet once in a while so that you have good balance between your sides. You can also try walking on a straight line on the floor, or if you have the space, you can make yourself an indoor obstacle course where you must step on different surfaces, follow different lines, different paths. That'll all help you get better at your balance. Here are some different resources if you're interested in learning more about balance in the vestibular system and ways that you can improve your balance at home. Okay, hope you guys have a great day.